Hello everyone, this is Sanadisk, and today I am back with a brand new Bloodborne cut/unused content video. In the previous videos I showcased some of the amazing cut bosses and NPCs that were supposed to be in the game, but today we are taking a little detour from that to show the unused armors, weapons and firearms that are left inside the files unused. Now, I uploaded a video about unused armors before, but they were mostly unused variations of existing armors, but in today's episode everything is brand new stuff that nobody knew before, and there are a lot of stuff to cover here, so I'm really excited for this. Now, I really appreciate it if you guys like this video, as making these cut content videos, especially at this time because I have a lot of important exams, is a really tough time, but I also don't want to leave you guys hanging about the unused content, and the likes bar is the thing that shows me that you guys really enjoy these videos and want more. Also, as always, I have to give thanks to id-daemon and Luxus18 for their huge help, as without them, we wouldn't have seen any of the unused content. Now, the unused armors and weapons range from icons only to models, and I tried to showcase them in the best way possible. So without further ado, let us begin. The first thing we have is this super cool looking armor set. This armor looks super elegant yet super good looking. There are many small details on this armor, such as the necklace on the body, which has a golden pendant on it, and it has the face of a woman on it, and it looks a lot like the designs of the coins where it has the face of a person on it, and it's usually a major figure. And the major female figure I can think of in Bloodborne is Annalise, the Queen of the Whitebloods, and there are still other clues in this armor that I'll be telling you about that might say that this is actually originating from Cainhurst. We also have the helmet, which is super cool looking, and it has these gold engravings on it, and it just looks super good. Also, at the bottom of the robe we have these wooden tablets of sorts which show a knight riding a horse, which might give us some clue that it might be related to Cainhurst, as there are a lot of statues showing knights on horses, and the knight looks an awful lot like the knight I showcased in my previous video, which a lot of people speculated that it might have been a champion of Cainhurst, and it is entirely plausible. Now, another really interesting thing is the insignia on the back of the cape of the armor. It looks like a griffin or a Welsh dragon, which is inside a heart-shaped border. Now, I tried matching it up with any of the insignias we have in Bloodborne, and the closest thing I can find for this was the Cainhurst insignia, so it is entirely possible that this was an early design for it and they decided to change things later on. So now we are temporarily going to be transitioning to unused weapons, because this player model actually wields two unused weapons, which are a shield that you are seeing, which has the design of two eagles or phoenixes, I don't know, but the only thing I know is that I want this shield, whether it is in Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3, I just want it. And the other weapon is a rusty magical looking sword. Now, it looks a bit like the claymore, but this one has some engravings on the hands and some yellow rust on the blade. Now, I expect that this was made early on in the development because of the shield and the textures for the armor and weapons. They are super high quality for this model, unlike the other unused content, which makes me wonder in what phase of the game this was made. And also because of the shields, as we also have other unused shields that we are going to be covering in this video. So, let us move on to the next cut equipment. The next thing we have is something that is small, yet it has been bothering me since the release of the game, and that is the headpiece for the Charred Hunter set. Now, first of all, the Charred Hunter set does have a headpiece, and that is the Grey Wolf cap, and that is evident in a lot of places, and the most important one being, well, obviously that in the code it is, and also in a lot of concept arts and early footage they are worn together. So this leaves the Ashen Hunter set without a headpiece. Well, not quite. In the icons there is a headpiece for it, but sadly it doesn't have a model or a name for it, but here's a little preview I did to visualize what it would have looked like. Now, if you ask me, it fits, but doesn't fit at the same time, but I tried putting the hood on the Charred Hunter set, and it looks more convincing considering the pattern on the hood kind of matches the pattern on the body part. So it seems like somewhere in development they decided to swap these headpieces and then return them normally for some reason, but currently in the code of the game the hood is the headpiece for the Ashen Hunter set and the Grey Wolf cap is the headpiece for the Charred Hunter set. I honestly side with the hood being for the Charred Hunter set, so I made a small poll which you can vote in your opinion by clicking the small I button in the top right hand corner. Now, to again transition into unused weapons, I actually found the model of the very first hunter we have seen back when Bloodborne was Project Beast, which is this guy. Now, if you remember, the character was wielding a torch and a sword, but we never knew what the sword actually looked like. Well, today's the day, here it is. The sword has a really cool design, especially the pommel of the sword, which looks decorated, you can say, and it has a lot of engravings on the blade. Sadly, it has very low quality textures, but the general idea is visible. Now, accompanying this sword is another shield, and this one also has an unknown insignia on it, but it does look very cool nonetheless. It is also worth noting that this shield is wielded by many other unused enemies, and I'll be talking about them in their respective videos. Next we have is an unused headpiece, which is also sadly has only an icon, but we kind of have the model for it in the game, which is this. Now, this is the headpiece for the spider enemies you fight outside of Bergenworth, and it is clear that you were supposed to be able to get their heads as an item. I made this shot to visualize what the thing might have looked like, and it would have looked terrifying, yet also amazing for some trolling videos as it looks very weird. Next thing is a small thing, which is this. This is actually a handpiece for the student set, and it was supposed to be worn by Mikolash. This does go well with the cage he is wearing on his head, enforcing the whole lore aspect of it, which is that it is also a device that restrains the will of the self, allowing one to see the profane world for what it is. This piece only has an icon and doesn't have a model. The next armor set we have is a very interesting looking one, but sadly the UVs for this armor are actually corrupted, so we can't apply the textures for it, and it only has the normal textures, but it would have been cool to see how the engravings and stuff look on it. This armor sort of gave me a Demon Souls vibe, like Tower Knight / Penetrator vibe, and it wields the same sword and shield as the Project Beast character. Now we are completely done with armor sets, let us move on to purely unused weapons and firearms, which are a lot. The first one is something we've kind of seen before, yet I have to mention, which is an alternate version of Ludwig's Holy Blade, which has bloody bandages on the blade. This matches two things, the first being the original Ludwig blade, which is the Holy Moonlight Sword, has these bandages, and the second is a concept art which was shown which had this variation. Now, sadly, this cannot be equipped by the player currently by using save editors, but it is cool looking nonetheless. Now, I wanted to show the unused firearms as a whole because there isn't much to be said about them, and I tried researching into Victorian era firearms and stuff, but I couldn't find a lot of information basically, so I'll just show them one by one and give a small description on each one. The first one seems to be a rifle, which I believe would have been held by two hands. I think they might have wanted it to be like the bows in the Souls series where you can aim and shoot with it, but decided to stick with guns only, like I would imagine it would have been a sniper sort of gun. The second one, I really like the design of it. As you can see, the end of the gun is spread out and it looks like it would have shot some special kind of bullets, that's how I imagine it. The third one is a flintlock small pistol with a hexagon shaped end. The next one is a familiar one, which is Gehrman's blunderbuss, as we were supposed to be able to wield it and actually use it. I don't know why they removed it though. Next we have a flintlock rifle, which is long compared to the other pistols, and I believe it might have worked like the Evelyn. And the last firearm is an alternate version of the cannon, and you can see this variation actually wielded by the undead giant boss. This one is very big, like for its size compared to the player, it's really not realistic to be wielded. Now sadly, none of those firearms can be equipped by the player, and I actually asked for help Zuli the Witch regarding this matter to check if they can be equipped or not, and sadly we can't. So this is it for the firearms, and last but not least, the final unused weapon, which is the skull. Now, this weapon cannot be equipped and we can't see its animations currently, so the only thing we can speculate upon is its significance. In my opinion, based on some of the dungeon enemies, I think it would have been used to fire some fireballs or magic or arcane or whatever, but seems like they scrapped the idea altogether. Maybe that exact skull had some significance to it, like belonging to an important figure, but we don't know anything about it sadly. So yeah, that is basically it. These are all of the unused armors and weapons inside the files of Bloodborne. Now these are all base games, so the DLC ones are going to have a separate video where we are able to view the files of the DLC. Also, something quick to mention, the Harrowed set and the Butcher set were actually in the main game and can be fully equipped ever since the game was first released. So yeah, it's not a strange thing for From Software to use cut ideas for DLC, but no one can say that the DLC wasn't spectacular. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I want to make this as an entire video because I might be disappearing for a couple of weeks to study for my exams, but there are still a lot of unused content left to show you guys. Also, make sure to watch my previous Bloodborne cut bosses video as it has some stuff that are super epic. Make sure to subscribe for more Bloodborne unused content, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.